we had confronted him and talked to him about the job thing. He admitted to it. He got emotional, and he asked us for support, and we said yes. And I remember Sheila left first, and then he walks me outside down his driveway. And I remember we stopped in the middle of his driveway of his house, and because I always park on the street, so we were walking to my car so I could leave. And he stops me and he gives me a hug, and he says, and here's the thing about me at that time in my life and in my previous life, growing up as a kid and everything. So I had issues with affection. I didn't get affection as a kid. And so when I had friends like in middle school and high school try to show me affection, I kind of struggled to receive it. So I was still that way even as a grown man in college at this point, 24 and 23, 24. And so anyway, so he knew that I didn't like people hugging me, and I wasn't the one like into like saying these like affectionate things to people or receiving them, right? Not that people were in the habit of telling me those things, but sometimes they would. Sometimes I had friends that would. So anyway, we're in his driveway, and he's walking me to my car, and he stops in the middle of the driveway, and we're saying goodbye, hugging or dapping, and then a hug. He hugged me, and then he says, he kind of like makes me hug him back, right? And then he says, he says, I love you, right? And I probably didn't answer. And he says, I'm not letting you go until you say it back. So I said it back to him, and then he let me go. And then I left that day, right? So, going back to this night, and I had kind of confessed to him my feelings, and he told me that he knew, and then I told him I didn't want to continue on with him, and that I wanted us to go and part ways, and that this wasn't working and all that. And he's talking me, trying to convince me to just give him some time, give him a chance. And it wasn't the first time he begged me. It was like the third time. And I remember we didn't even do what we came to the park to do, which was to take some pictures for the film. We ended up, that conversation like went on, and then eventually we just like got back in the car, and I drove him to his house. And I remember pulling up in front of his house, and before he got out, he was just like, I want to keep going. We were supposed to be on set, back on set the next day of the film. And he's like, he just wanted me to give him some time, to prove to me that he was this better guy that I thought he was, And I was like numb at that point. I remember being numb. And I agreed at the very least that we would keep our commitment as far as the film that we were already in the middle of and we had scheduled. And that we did all this work to prep, and all these people that we asked to be a part of it. So I was like, I'll see you in the morning. He got out and everything. And I remember the next day we were on set, and I remember the girl that was like our first AD, and I remember her asking me the next day, and she's like, what's going on? Like, something's wrong. What's wrong? And what she was talking about was she had noticed that I wasn't speaking to Jared the next day on set, because I'm sure we had like a full day of filming, and she noticed it, and she asked me like, what's wrong? And I remember he was like nearby, and actually I didn't really respond, but he responded to her, and he told her that, you know, we're trying to like work through something, you know, right now. I remember him telling her that. And I was just like despondent. I was despondent, you know, because I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what I was going to do. And, but shortly after, something made the decision for me. Which I'll cover in another video. But as it relates to me and Jared at this time, how this culminated was we kept working on the project. There were some other incidents that happened after that and around this where some things popped up, some people popped up, and I started getting a little sensitive to the people that he would introduce me to and bring me around, because and there were people before even that moment. Like, there were people he went to school with. Some of them were like I knew were clearly gay. Some of them were clearly DL. You know, this one guy in particular, a friend of his from school that was like I know what's going on here. One time he took me to a house full of like, I felt like it was a house of DL guys. It was like full of guys, and I was just like, why would he bring me here? Just like on a random day, he was like, oh, we're about to stop at somebody's house, and we stopped at this house. It was like a 2-story house, and it was like a bunch of, you know, college age dudes in the house, and then like his friend who was his age, who was out of school, he was there, and I just remember sitting in on the couch. We were there for a short time. I just remember thinking, these guys in this house are gay. Like, I could tell. Not gay like in a flamboyant way, but what I'm telling you is that I know, you know, discreet DL dudes when I'm around them. Like, I know, you know, and that was just an experience that I banked at the time, because I didn't have a full profile of Jared. I hadn't put a full one together, but I was just banking these things, you know. There was like this one guy that was like a model. His name was Ashley, and Jared started bringing it around at some point, and this guy was totally gay, like, and I was just go, why is he hanging around this guy all of a sudden, like spending so much time around this guy? At the time, it was one of those things that was like making me like ring alarms in my head. And of course, in hindsight, years down the line, of course, I'm like, oh, I know what that was.